All right, real estate investors, you need to hear this. The Fed, they held their rates flat in May, but beyond the headlines, the credit spreads and shrinking deals that are tightening, capital is shifting underneath the surface. But what does that all mean to you? Today, I've got Tim Herriage, a former U.S. Marine Corps intelligence analyst, co-founder of Blackstone's B2R Finance, former executive director at RCN Capital, and the founder and CEO of Turnus Lending. So with over 20 years in the game and over $8 billion in real estate transactions and nearly 2,000 properties in his track record, he's here today to break down exactly what that means for wholesalers, flippers, and rehabbers. You want real insight, not guesswork. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Closers Club. So Tim, first up, the Fed held rates flat in May. What does that actually mean for us, the everyday investors out there? Are loans getting cheaper, tighter, or just weird?
It means nothing.
Okay.
At this point, so number one, the Federal Reserve rate really has to do with businesses, not mortgages. Mortgages are typically on the 10-year Treasury.
Gotcha.
The 10-year Treasury is holding steady. It actually looked like it was going to go down the other day, but then you may have heard a country attacked another country last night.
I saw that. Yeah.
Treasuries are back up. So it's just, well, you can expect this year's rates to be where they are. You may have some, quarter point down here, then quarter point up here, but the U.S. economy is doing well.
Yes.
Inflation is normal and job growth is still happening. So there is no reason at this time to lower rates. And everybody's been talking about lowering rates. David, honestly, my crystal ball says you add 6 months to the clock today, and we're looking at about the exact same picture.
Okay.
Now, if there is more job losses, if inflation actually goes down below 3% and stays there, or down to 2%, maybe the Fed backs off a little bit, but it's still not going to change things until you can't expect for lower rates until you have some pain in the markets, and we're nowhere near that.
Okay. I would agree. I think this is going to be pretty normal, but what do we say? You hear it, I hear it, everybody, people that have not been around for more than 2 years or 3 years and, came into this industry experiencing 3%, 4% interest rates, like they're so shocked right now that it's at, 5, 6, and 7% or 6 and 7%, 8% if you have bad credit, I guess. But like, this is pretty normal, right? Like this is what it's been for the average. I think I've looked it up. The average mortgage rate, residential mortgage rate over the last like 50, 60 years is 7.7. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Sevens are normal. Sixes are great.
Yeah.
Twos and threes are crazy land. And I don't think we ever go back to it. The good news is what I'm starting to see is the recency bias is fading. Right. So in 22 and 23, it was really hard to imagine taking something that had a 4 or 5 handle on your mortgage because you were looking last year at 3 or 2. Well, now 2025 at 2024, you're looking at, they were in the 7s and now they're in the 6s. So you'll start to have recency bias fade from the crazy times and back into more normal times.
Yeah.
The biggest problem right now is the move up, move down, empty nester market. It is very difficult for those individuals to justify selling their homes.
Yes.
Because even if you wanted to downsize, which, that's the standard thing. We both have kids about the same age. Your kids get out of high school. You're now an empty nester. Typically, you downsize.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking at downsizing right now, yeah, you got a ton of equity and you're going to get a bunch of money, but then you're going to go pay double the interest rate on your next house. So even your cheaper house, your downsized house, doesn't save you any money. So at that point, why even sell?
Why do it?
I think we'll see more multi-generational housing, which is kind of the same thing we saw after the Great Recession, where, you know, teenage kids, 22-year-old kids. There was an article in the Wall Street Journal this week. Recent college grads are having trouble finding a job, and it's there's a lot of jobs out there, but they're not the jobs people want anymore. So I think when you look at housing affordability, we're at this affordability wall, and there are some markets where values are going down. There are some price points in the market where homes are not selling. But you're hard pressed to find a house below the median home price for the county in America that house is not selling.
Right. So how long? Oh, sorry. I mean, go ahead.
No, please. No, please.
Yeah. Like, so how long do you think this effect will last? Where we're talking about the people who, you know, might want to downsize or, you know, might want to just move to the other side of town to be closer to work, but they're in these properties with, you know, that 3% or 4% interest rate. Like, how long do we expect that to happen? And then also, you know, where you talk about college kids coming out and not being able to find a job, that feels very much like 2010, 11, 12, right? But there's still, even behind all of that, there's just a lack of houses out there. There are people who want houses, and I know that this, and I feel like I'm throwing a lot at you here.
It's fine
because there's so much to talk about. But you know, this something came out a week or so ago that said there's more houses on the market than buyers, and I think that's crap. I think there's more houses than people who have put in mortgage applications, but there is a housing shortage out there, no question about it.
Well, look, I mean, I do tend to agree there is a general housing shortage. But the shortage is of affordable housing.
Yeah.
There is not a shortage of median home price and above houses. There's a surplus now.
Sure.
The days on the market are going up, and I think if I'm a wholesaler out there, I get really careful about my offers based off the price point of the home. Yes. And because I mean, I look at the data because we do, you know, a lot of loans here. Houses below the median are still getting multiple offers. Our fix and flip loans are paying off in 3 and 4 months. Yeah. The hotel loans, people are paying them off in 30 days. And the DSCRs are still refinancing and penciling at 80% loan to value. But once you get above the median, now we see people that are, you know, they'll pay 70 or 75 cents on the dollar for a house that's 300, but they'll only pay 60 for a house that's 700 because they have to price that risk in. So the flippers are smart about that.
I think that's a great distinction to make for people, that you know, when you're out comping your properties, if you're a wholesaler, and also for people to understand, if you're a wholesaler, you know, that deal doesn't die the day you assign it to your end buyer, right? That deal lives on. And if you don't understand as a wholesaler how the rehabber is going to make money, right? The rehabber has to fix it up and then be able to sell it. And if that part of the market is tightening up, which is, I think, what we're seeing, you need to account for that. So I love that making that distinction of once you get over that median price that you need to, or median price range that you need to evaluate it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's back in the day, David. We used this thing called paper, and we would do math. Yeah. And then the math included your holding time and your carry cost, and included repairs you were going to have to do because the buyer asked for them. Included a negotiation discount.
Yes.
Included paying commissions. You know, all these things that kind of went away for a couple years. Yeah. But they're back, and the math is still the math, right? So if you're a wholesaler and you got a flipper that is going into a softer market where you're seeing a lot of price reductions and seller contributions, they cannot afford to pay full top dollar for that because they can't count on getting full top dollar for it. Yeah. So I think it's just an adjustment. Market's strong, foreclosures are low. There's probably the biggest headwind if you're actively in the market or looking at other markets is if you can find a market where property taxes and property insurance aren't skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Those affordable markets like, well, Chattanooga in the middle America, the Rust Belt,
Yeah.
they'll become even more attractive, just like they did during COVID, because in Florida right now, it's very difficult to get insurance, much less insurance you can afford.
Yeah. We're seeing a lot of our clients pull out of Florida. Like they just it's too tough because most of Florida exists around the coastline. And yeah, I think in Florida, the state's going to have to step in and do something, right? It just can't keep going up unlimited, right? It just can't do that forever.
Well, and even Texas, and this is what'll start happening. So I have DSCR, long-term rental loans, DSCRs that I on my personal investment that I took out, in COVID, because they started throwing around 3.25 money. I'm first in line to take it. But I've got 2 houses that I was recently doing an analysis on because I got my property tax statement for the year.
Yeah.
When I closed on that 3.25 mortgage, I was at a 1.25 DSCR. That house is a negative cash flow now.
Really?
Yeah. And everybody, it's hard for people to think about it. So there's going to be some pain in the investor market that's going to uncork some inventory. And the same thing's happening with owner occupied people. Just because you got your mortgage rate is only part of the affordability index, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my property taxes in Texas are up 100% over the last 5 years.
Oh,
my
Lord.
Insurance is up 70% over the last 5 years. And rents were going up, but they're not now. Rents are flat.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily going down in the DFW market, but they're flat. And if you really want to know the health of a market, here's an old trick I've been using for 20-something years. Drive by the new apartment complex that's being built or is almost done and look at the leasing specials.
The discounts. Yeah.
Because if it's a couple months free, they're having problems. If it's 2 months or no rent the first month, they're having problems. If there's no sign outside, they're
Things
fine.
are good. Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing in some of these. That's kind of why I pushed back on that inventory statement. Some of these new multifamily projects that are getting delivered that have been in the pipeline for 3, 4, 5 years, there is zero way they're going to hit their performer. Zero.
Really?
Their insurance is up so much. It cost them so much more to build it. And now rents are down on multifamily. In most Class A multifamily, rents are down year over year. And so, I mean, you're starting to see all these leasing specials. Well, then all of a sudden, and we saw it actually in 08 and 09, all of a sudden the B class tenant you were hoping was going to rent, your 322 brick or your 3-1 little ranch style house. Well, they see this brand new Class A 300, 3-bedroom apartment in a cool community that they can rent for the same price that you were hoping to get. And so you're going to see a lot of that. I don't think the inventory is as open as people think it is. I think we're almost to an oversupply point, except for it's when you look at total housing units.
Really?
Right? Yeah, I mean, well, because the affordability, right? So a lot of people just can't afford to buy, so they got to rent.
Right. So it's not that there aren't people who want to buy; they're just staying at home with mom or multi-generational stuff.
Yeah, or they have to go rent an apartment because the median home price. The interesting part for me is we basically eradicated the low-end homes out of the market.
Oh, same thing here, dude. When I started in 09, we were walking down the street picking up houses for 15 grand. Like, you could go get one a day if that's what you wanted. And now they're gone.
If people own those, they have no other housing option than to stay there. So that's where, as a marketer, you got to get really good at motivated sellers, right? Because if someone recently died, they don't need the house anymore.
That's right.
If someone's in foreclosure or bankruptcy or got a divorce, they may not have the option anymore. So I still think that those that are disciplined about finding the right inventory, there will be ready, willing, and able buyers for it. And the lower you can go in price point relative to the median home price, the better.
Yeah. Okay. 2 questions for you. Where just timely with what's going on in the economy today, where do you think just the uncertainty in just government and politics and tariffs, where do you think that leaves investors and where it relates to financing, or does it at all?
There is more investor appetite for real estate investor mortgages than ever before. I'm going to talk about Wall Street appetite. Our phone's ringing off the hooks. People are buying, people are refinancing, people are they're selling, they're flipping. I stopped listening. I just don't think it's going, whatever 47 tweets or truths or posts or says is going to change the next week. And the other side is going to come out and yell about the opposite of whatever was said.
No matter what.
And just so everybody knows, no matter who wins the next election, the exact same thing is going to be true. Right? Because unless we get rid of all social media and go back to like real journalism and like newspapers and stuff, it's never going to change. And nothing, not clickbait too, right?
Yeah.
Because,
Sure.
I mean, if you change the title of this live video to "My guest passed away during this interview," we'd have 7,000 people watching this right now because people start sharing it. Like they don't even watch it. And so I don't know.
I'm going to 100% make the post of this on YouTube. My guest passed away in this interview, during this interview. Let's see what happens. So, but yeah, so
it's just, and so I don't think any of it changes.
I do agree with you. I think more of our problem over the years has been a consumer confidence problem than an economy problem, and that's because people are listening to 24-hour this news cycle that's just this barrage of craziness all the time. And I just think people, when it gets crazy like that, they get a little unsure and they don't know what to do.
By the way, you just said that, and it reminded me of an alert I saw 3 hours ago. Consumer sentiment surges. The increase last month was the first since December, rising from the near record lows in spring when the Trump tariff blitz caused pessimism. So just like dial that back. Interest rates are high.
Are they? Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Inflation has made the price of eggs and all this other crap. And the bird flu and the Middle East war and all these bad things are happening, David. But sentiment is going up. Maybe we're all just overthinking.
I agree with you. I'm with you. I've been saying forever, a friend of ours posted a couple weeks ago about, foreclosures are up 11%. I'm like, yeah, but from the fucking basement, we couldn't have been any lower. Like we're at it's not even historic lows. It's like forever lows. Foreclosures were so low. My God, they went up 11%. It's still not even a blip on the radar. It's just the economy is good. The economy is healthy.
Well, our other good friend, Jason Hartman, always says compare. He always says compared to what?
Right.
Like that's what happens is Texas property values decline 20% month over month. You're like, oh my God. And they found one zip code in Austin where that happened. And that's the headline. Right. Yeah. But the problem is no one reads past the headline and looks at it. If you look at it, unemployment is down.
Yeah.
Job numbers are up.
Yeah.
Sentiment's up.
Yeah.
The market's stable. There's liquidity. There's bonds trading. There's stocks trading. The stock market's recovered from the nutso time.
Yeah.
People got to just like get their head down and you just decide that you want to be successful or not.
Yeah.
I mean, people would have said I was crazy to start a mortgage company at a time when interest rates were skyrocketing and mortgage companies were closing left and right and layoffs everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought it was a perfect time because guess what? There was a lot of talent available that I never could have afforded before.
Yes, sir. So, let's shift right into that a little bit. Tell us a little bit about Turnus and what you guys do and why every single investor who is watching this needs to be reaching out to you guys.
So we're the investors lender. And what that means is we're owned by investors. So we actually have over 100 shareholders. We are actively selling stock in our company, our little private company. You can go to Turnus.com and click on invest, and you can, for as little as $1,000, own a piece of our company. We're doing that because the more money we have from us, the Main Street guys and gals, the more I can make loans the way I know how to buy a house. And the entire thesis was, if I can buy a house looking at pictures and comps, why can I not make a loan looking at pictures and comps? Why do I need an appraisal? Why do I need a credit score? Why do I need any of that? And so now it took us 12 months to do our first 100 loans. Took us 5 months to do the next 100. And it'll take 2 or 3 months to do the next 100. And by the end of the year, we'll be doing 100 months.
I love it.
So we do fix and flip, wholesale, transactional funding, bridge loans, and long-term rental portfolio or single loan products. The coolest stat of the day for me is I got a text from my data guy, and he said, of the active loans in our pipeline, 42% are repeat customers.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And yeah, and last year it was 11% because we were new, so it's hard to have a repeat customer if if you never had customers, right? In the industry, a lot of lenders experience a 60 to 70% repeat customer ratio. Think about your business, right? I mean, once you get a good customer and you do a good job, they're going to keep using you, right? And so that's the exciting part, is the compounded growth curve. Not only are we investing in marketing and growth, but we're doing a good job. I think the only way I can tell anyone about our company is there's good, fast, and cheap, and you only get two. And I am good and I'm fast. I'm not cheap. I charge 12% on my hard money loans, my fix and flip loans, private loans, whatever you want to call them.
1% a month for the people.
I can close in a day.
1% a month for the people who hear that and go, "Oh my God, 12%, 1% a month." It's like paying the fucking plumber. Get the people that can actually close on these loans.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I got an email last week, 5 days from submission to funding on a brand new customer that had never bought a house.
Yep.
And that's just unheard of. We're closing DSCR loans in 14 days, where the industry standard is 28. Right. And the way we do that is I invest in the people and the technology. I forward staff. So I hire today what I'm going to need in 3 months.
You have to.
And that's hard to do as a business owner, right? Because you're not making much money when you're doing that. But we're committed to our core values: speed, transparency, accountability, respect, and service. STARS. I'm a Marine, so we have to make everything an acronym. And it's speed, because having been on the other side of the closing table thousands of times, I know that time will kill a deal, and the lender can be sometimes the slowest part of it. Transparency, because we actually run sales contests to say no quick, who can give the most declines quickest. Because if you think I'm going to give you a loan, you may stop looking for money, and that could screw you. But if I'm like, hey man, this thing doesn't look like it fits, I can go look at it, but you may want to keep looking. Well, the next time you get a deal, you call me, and because if I'll do the same thing with you that time, it's like, cool. We actually had a guy that we said was a bad deal, and he ended up flipping it with some other lender, and he ended up losing like 20 grand. And he called back and said, he's like, dude, y'all are the only ones that told me I was buying a bad deal. I'm using you for life. And it's like, I'm sorry you lost 20 grand, you know? But then, so speed, that transparency, because we don't yank people around. Accountability, because like, we just have to own things, right? Like if we say we're going to close, we're going to do it. We're going to hold ourselves accountable, our team accountable, our vendors accountable, and our customers accountable. Respect, because I don't work with douchebags, right? So you if you're an a-hole to my team, you will get fired. I don't care how many houses you buy, right? And the same thing with my team. If they're an a-hole to each other or to a customer, they'll get fired, because that's just not me. And then service, and this one, every time I say it, I just did it again, I get goosebumps. Service is a core value for us, because we make millionaires. Right. And this business took me out of the Marine Corps with no money, no credit, no financial education. I didn't go to college. And this business has allowed me to live a financial life that is beyond anything I ever imagined. And, you know, the fact that I get to help other people have that, right? Like, we financed a firefighter the other day. It was his first flip, and he had named his company something legacy properties. And we talked to him, and he told the guys on the phone that he's doing this to build a legacy for his kids, right? Like, and like, to get to be a part of that, and like to like everyone have fun and win together. It's really fun.
I love that. Guys, we're going to wrap it up. I know I've held Tim here a little bit extra, but if you are in this business and you want to be actually building some real wealth and doing some rehabs and buying some properties and holding them, Tim and I both have a ton of rental properties. He's got probably far more than me, but this is what you need to be doing. And I cannot recommend Turnus any stronger than we already have. You could see Tim and his company, incredible level of integrity. So we've dropped the link here. If you're watching this later, we'll drop it in the show notes. Tim, kind of final words. What would your final words be to all of the wholesalers in the industry out there, as it relates to kind of the finance and the market and all of that? I think we've talked a little bit about it, but kind of squish it all here into one little bit.
So number one, go to turnus.com and click on affiliate partner and become an affiliate, because we'll pay you referral fees on all your buyers and every loan they ever do with us. It's better than a rent house. Number two, understand the loan programs available to your customers so that you can properly price and market your inventory. There are three levers in this business: what you buy the house for, how you improve it, and what you're able to obtain for it on the market, either rent or sale. And if you understand the financing involved in it, and you don't have to be smart, you just have to get a pen and paper and start playing with numbers. It will make you a more valuable resource to the buyers that you really want to work with long term, not just the biggest fool. And so I think I started out as a wholesaler, still wholesale. I just hate it. My wife does it. I don't do it. But educate yourself, be smart, don't push crappy deals, because this industry, the last thing I'll say is your track record. Once you start, you never get to undo it. And so one time you screw someone, that will stick with you the rest of your career. One time you default on a lender, that sticks with you the rest of your career. And so your track record is the one thing that you cannot buy in this business. So do business above board and do business ethically, and you will have wild success, because it's a relationship industry. And I think there's a lot of nice people that just love to help other people get rich.
Guys, there you have it. Go to turnus.com, get your loans, work with people who have that integrity. Tim, thank you so much for popping on today.
Thanks, bud.